Hi guys. So you're about to start the second part of your project. So it's similar to the first part. You're still solving these literal equations, but now they're just going to be a little bit tougher. So I created some that are similar to the ones you're going to see on this project, and I'm going to walk you through them. Now, if I was you, I would write these down on a piece of paper, taking your notes, and then you can use those notes while you're doing your project. So if you have a bunch of examples written out, it'll be a lot easier to do the project. Excuse me. So the first one, and I just put a little arrow next to which variable they wanted you to solve for. So on this one, they want you to solve for b. So remember, just like we did on the other project, you're just trying to move everything away from b. We want b all by itself. So I'm going to start, we always do the addition or subtraction part first. I'm going to subtract this whole ax. You can subtract the whole thing at the same time. So on the left, ax minus ax, that cancels out, and I'm just left with this by equals, and over here, c minus ax, it's just c minus ax. I know it seems like you should want to combine those, but you don't have to. We don't know what the c is or the a or the x. Okay, I'm still trying to solve for b. So right now I have b times y here. So the opposite of times y would be divide by y. So I'm going to divide both sides by y. So now I just have b, and on this side I have c minus ax divided by y. Well, guess what? You can just leave it as c minus ax divided by y. You can leave it just like that. So these problems, they seem kind of complicated because there's a lot of variables, but really you get to just leave everything. So it's not super tough. So there's one example. Okay, number two, here's a different type. This time we're trying to solve for this a. Okay, so every time we do the addition or subtraction part first, so I need to get rid of this plus c. So I'm going to subtract c from both sides. So on the left, x minus c, I don't know what that is. I just leave it as x minus c. On the right, this plus c minus c cancels out, and I just have ab. I'm trying to solve for a. Right now I have a times b, so the opposite of times b would be to divide by b on both sides. So on the left, x minus c divided by b just gets to be left as x minus c divided by b. And on the right, I now just have a. So that's my answer. Okay, number three. This one has all sorts of things. Numbers, we have some pi's in there, exponents. So it might look difficult, but we're just going to take it step by step. They want us to solve for h on this one. So I always do the addition or subtraction part first. So right now, all of this is being added to 2 pi r squared. So I'm going to subtract 2 pi r squared all in one step. I'm going to subtract that from both sides. So on the left, I now have x minus 2 pi r squared. And on the right, those canceled out, and I'm left with this 2 pi r squared h. So I need to get h by itself. Right now, h is being multiplied by all of this, 2 pi r squared. So I'm going to divide by 2 pi r squared on both sides. So on the left, you can leave it just like this because you don't have to do that division. You could simplify that a little bit because this part of it right here becomes 1, but I think they just leave it like that. I will double check here in a second on the answers just to make sure that that's how they leave it. And on the right, I just have h. Okay, here's another one. So this time I'm trying to solve for a. So you can see we do the same steps every single time. First, I'm going to take care of the addition or subtraction. So I'm going to subtract 20c squared from both sides. So on the right, I have a minus 20c squared. And on the right, that canceled out, and I just have ab. If I'm trying to solve for a, I need to divide both sides by b. So I end up with, on the left, I'm running out of room here, a minus 20c squared over b. And on the right, I just have my a. And I have one more for you. So here's one that's starting out as division. So that's a little bit different. So make sure you write this one down. We're trying to solve for this a1. That's how you say this, by the way, a1. This is a2, b1, b2. So if I'm trying to get a1 by itself, before I can do anything else, I have to get rid of this denominator because I'm trying to solve for something in the numerator. So right now this whole numerator is being divided by b1 minus b2. So the opposite of dividing by b1 minus b2 is I'm going to have to multiply by b1 minus b2 on both sides. Multiply by that whole thing. So on the left, this looks like x times the whole thing, b1 minus b2. And I put that in parentheses because I'm multiplying x times this whole thing. If I didn't have the parentheses, it would look like I was just doing x times b1 and then subtracting b2. But I want that in parentheses. Over here, my denominator cancels out, and I have a1 minus a2. I'm still trying to solve for a1. So now I can add a2 to both sides. So on the left, I end up with this x times b1 minus b2 plus a2. And on the right, I just have my a1. That one was a little tricky. Make sure you took the time to write that down or pause this and write it down now, because you will see one like that on this project.